Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 29th, 2019, and I'm outside taking a bit of a break this afternoon. Apologize for not posting videos as frequently as I used to do. Just been a little bit crazy around here lately. But today I thought I'd try and get to some of the comments and questions that I've had in the past that I just haven't responded to. So again, I apologize for being so tardy and getting some responses up here. One of the more recent videos that I posted on using wood chips in the garden, TT Willow said thanks for the video on wood chips. I'm thinking about getting some mulch for my bottle brush bushes, Mexican flame bushes, and desert willow trees in my yard in San Antonio, Texas. I also want to eliminate mowing the lawn here. Do you think wood chips piled directly over the grass and weeds will discourage their regrowth? Yes and no. I am familiar with some of the area in San Antonio. Most of the areas that I'm familiar with are a little more arid, dry environments, and so wood chips may very well completely eliminate the weeds and grass there. But if there is much moisture there, it would be advisable, if you can find it, using cardboard, laying that directly on top of the grass and weeds, and then piling the wood chips on top of that. That should adequately kill the weeds and grass. The other option that I think about, if we want to ultimately just use wood chips down on the surface of the ground as a mulch source, one thing you can do is you can use either solarization or occulation. So solarization is going to the around here there's Home Depot and Lowe's box stores that have 6 mil clear plastic, and so you can lay that clear plastic down over the lawn, the grass and the weeds, and with all the sun you get in San Antonio, the sun will solarize or kill the weeds and the grass, and then you can go ahead and lay the wood chips down as a mulch layer on top of that, which should suppress some further seed germination. So often people will go ahead and wet down the grass or the weeds, put the plastic over it, give it a couple of weeks, and with the direct sun, everything will turn brown and all. I would take the plastic off, re-wet the area down because there's weed seeds in the soil there as well. Give it a few days, a week or two potentially, for those seeds to germinate. Then you can put the plastic back over the surface of it. That way you're eliminating the current perennial growth that's on the surface of the soil, and those weed seeds that have not germinated, that are in the surface of the soil, they'll germinate after the first weed seeds have been gone, after you've watered the surface. The other way is using occulation, which is using a tarp material that you can put down on top of it. A nice black tarp will prevent moisture from getting to the soil surface, and it will take all of the heat from the solar radiation and create a lot of heat on the surface, and also kill the grass and weeds. However, a real quick resource, way of approaching the same system, is if you can get cardboard and lay that down on the surface of the grass and weeds, and then place the wood chips directly on it. I like at least putting 2 or 3 layers of the cardboard down so that we're overlapping all the edges of the cardboard, if at all possible. And it's called sheet mulching. And I've done some videos on sheet mulching. I really do really deep layers, multiple layers of cardboard when I'm doing sheet mulching. So I hope that helps out, TT Willow, and thanks for your comment and adding to the community dialogue here. Thanks so much and have a great day. So, Escape from Obamastan wrote, I've had 2 years of it in a row now. Oh, this is regarding, I actually had a couple of contacts regarding black rot on grapevines. So last year I had black rot, which is a fungal disease that affects grapevines, and I have a row of Concord grapevines up pretty high in my second food forest, near my second swale system. And both last year and this year we had really prolonged periods of cold, wet, dark, cloudy periods here, and with the higher moisture content and any compromise, any stress that the grapevines go through, and there's too much moisture in the environment, and the grapevines don't get enough air to their crowns and all, then they become much more susceptible to this opportunistic fungal infection. And I share your frustration. So she was wondering, or he or she was wondering, you know, how did things work out? So last season, I'll put a link to that video up in the upper right hand corner. Last year I really heavily pruned back the grapevines, took away all evidence of the black rot. I composted the vines and the leaves and all that material. Most people say completely destroy them, burn them, bury them, whatever. I went ahead and composted them. And we ate quite a few grapes off of those vines. It turned out okay. Now I really stripped away probably 90% of those grapevines, as I recall. And this year I checked on them just the other day after getting the first email question about, geez, how are things going with the black rot? And there's one of the grapevines has just one little new season's growth on it that shows a little bit of evidence of it. And again, this year we've had rain after rain after rain after rain, and I haven't had a chance to get up there and work with those plants. However, I believe that this fungal infection, just like many different diseases that people get as well as animals get and our plants get as well, are really opportunistic infections, opportunistic chances for them to get a foothold and potentially create more of a visible problem on these plants. And it's an opportunistic infection because all of the needs aren't being met by the plant. Now those grapevines, the Concord grapevines, and my seeded green grapevine in the pergola, both of those had decreased airflow into the area where I was growing them. Both of them, I didn't have the vines mounded up high enough so that the crown of the roots were adequately drying out, because it was just an area where the ground level was just too low where they were directly planted, and there was just too much moisture in the soil. It had competition from weeds at their bases as well, grass and weeds, quackgrass and all. And I did work up there a little bit this season, trying to build up the site so I can get the base where the root crowns, where the grapevines are planted in, to be higher, be at a higher ground level. So I think that's going to help out with some. I haven't amended the soil. I haven't used any probiotics to inoculate the surface of the plants. So you could use effective microorganisms and spray them. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description below at Amazon where you can pick up the effective microorganisms. Probiotics. So the probiotics are the microorganisms that are most beneficial. They have a mutualistic beneficial relationship with the plant species, or with people. Probiotics have a mutualistic symbiotic relationship with us in our gastrointestinal tract, mainly our colon. So when we take probiotics, it's so important to make sure that we're feeding those probiotics. So that, again, the probiotics are the microorganisms. The prebiotics are those fibrous plant products that feed those probiotics and allow them to make all their phytonutrients and make more of these bioavailable to the plant or to the person. So there is a product that I purchased, I haven't used yet, and that's called Effective Micronutrients. And I'll put a link in the description below to an Amazon link. Again, I haven't evaluated it yet. I purchased it, in hopes of trying to further enhance the well-being, give the plant species that are having some challenges more of an opportunity to overcome any challenges that they have in their environment. It's kind of like people. If you're overly tired, you're stressed out, you're not eating right, and then some stressful event happens, like you're exposed to a virus, you're much more susceptible not just to get the infection, but to suffer all of the typical manifestations of that infectious agent. So I hope that answers your question. Escape from Obamastan. Okay, on to the next one. Where's the wind turbine man? Been watching and enjoying. Thank you. That was from John Arment. Great, thank you. Tom McKenzie. Super helpful video. It has helped me to decide on the flail mower to go with the BCS 740 and rotary I'm ordering. Thanks for taking the time to post. That was in response to my Berta flail mower that I use with my BCS 749. I haven't posted a video on that in a while, but if you're interested in two-wheel tractors, or walk-behind tractors that really have all these different implements that can do so many functions on site and really decrease your workload, I recommend checking out that video so you can at least see one potential benefit to using that piece of equipment. So thanks for your comment there, Tom. I appreciate it. Recently I posted a video on the flood damage here on site, and and again, I was a bit overwhelmed with all the things we have on site, and I'll put a link to that flood damage video up here. But Kate Cortez gave me some positive words. I really appreciate that, Kate. You're always there. Thank you. There was I posted a video on black rot and the grapevines, and another person, Mary Monk. You could contact this lady. They do consultation on farms for fixing the soil and plant health, and that's a link to Elaine Ingham's website, and I don't remember the name of her website, but Elaine Ingham is a really great soil microbiologist, and I agree, her as a resource is absolutely wonderful. We do the microscopy here, examining the microorganisms that are present in the soil, and trying to mix the appropriate both quantity and quality, the types of microorganisms in each area. So the microorganisms that I want out in the food forest that are helping to support the trees out in the food forest areas, we want to have more fungally dominated soil, as opposed to many of our brassicas and all in our kitchen garden and vegetable gardens. We want to have a more balanced bacterial and fungal populations as well. But thanks again, Mary. I appreciate the comment, adding to the information here. Adam asked a question regarding starting sweet potato slips, a new way to propagate sweet potato slips, and I did a whole series on that so far, and I'll be doing an update on many different things that I'm doing some series on here, including the living fences, the hardwood cuttings in the western garden plot, the living fences, hardwood cuttings, our gardens, an update on our gardens as well, the strawberry beds and so on, and also an update on the sweet potatoes and how things have been going there. And Adam asked, since perlite is not available locally, can I use builder sand? And yes, anything that's going to offer some moisture retaining qualities and allowing the surface to dry out will certainly work. It's builder sand is actually a pretty darn good substrate for starting many different semi-hardwood cuttings, some softwood cuttings, hardwood cuttings, and certainly these vegetative cuttings like the sweet potato slips as well. So great point. Thanks for asking, Adam. So a video I posted, the future is perennial ground cover. I've had a few comments on it, and JoJo's mentioned use cardboard box materials ? I'm not sure what that actually meant. So I do use cardboard box materials. I actually use any paper products whatsoever. Newspaper, shredded paper, cardboard that I don't remove the tape on. I put that down as well. In some areas, and as I've mentioned, we have white rot on the property, which is a really decent fungal organism that helps to break down plastics as well. So some of the tape has disappeared in the maple forest area. So I do take all of our small paper products that do have little bits of plastic in them as well, put them in that area, let the fungi break all that material down, then I use that soil. What plastics don't break down in that, I just pick up at it, which is really loose amongst all the soil that's there. It just takes time. Now you certainly don't want the tape strips and package inserts. If you're sheep mulching an area, it's a real pain in the butt when you see that popping up between the wood chips and all. It doesn't bother me very much, but some people it would really frustrate a lot. I just pick it up and move on. Time is of the essence, and I really don't like trying to take the extra time to peel all the tape and package label holders as well. Ajit Pawar commented on how to size your solar panel system. Asked me to present a video regarding how to determine the battery size design with an inverter system as well for the solar system. So we've got how to size your solar panels for your homestead. We've got a really elaborate solar panel array, 2 solar panel arrays out back, and I had posted a video on how to determine how many solar panels you need, what sizes they are, after determining how much energy you're consuming and that sort of thing. And I've really been thinking a lot has changed in battery technology with supercapacitors, ultracapacitors, dry cell battery technology, and some of the hybrid inverters and I'm holding off, and it'll probably be this coming winter. I'll post a video on what my plans are for using a double hybrid inverter system using the existing microinverters that we have on our solar panels with a battery backup system as well. So hopefully I'll get to that. I'm just running behind on everything. I posted a video reviewing the 2 Bad Cats wire weeder, and I absolutely love that wire weeder for weeding in the garden. I use the hand one and the long one, and I have a newer Neversink Farm style one that was sold by Johnny Select Seeds that has multiple different heads that attach, and I'll be doing a review on that sometime later this season, hopefully. But Craft Runner wrote, "Please stop dribbling on and get to the test in the ground." That's my style, folks. I'm sorry that I'm so wordy and frustrating to listen to at times. One key thing is, whenever I'm listening to someone who seems boring to me, but they have good information that I can't wait to go to, I go down below on the video, and there's in the YouTube settings, you can always increase the speed to like twice the speed. So as I'm dribbling on, you can just increase the speed of the video, and maybe I sound more like a normal person in that situation. Anyway, it's just a helpful hint, and it's a little funny. I realize I do dribble on. Metqa, METQA, are you brewing kombucha in the background? Yes, a new way to propagate sweet potato slips. Yes, kombucha, we do have kombucha. Oh, this is a good one. Now, a couple of years ago, I posted a video, and I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner, chicken feed, compostable cat litter, an inexpensive, environmentally responsible way to manage kitty litter. And in that, I go over some of the health risks for cats. You know, as an internist, I'd see respiratory signs with cats. I'm always concerned about our landfills getting filled up with biodegradable materials and all. And clay, the clay litters, besides having all the scents added to them and filling up landfills, and some of it being aerosolized and creating lesions in the lungs of some cats, that cat litter, the clay litter, could be really used for patching ponds and sealing up dams, that sort of thing. Where in that video I talked about using chicken crumble and BU Mina. I'm in Mexico, and here I'm using chicken food called Pondora, P-O-N-E-D-O-R-A, and it has been awesome, triple exclamation mark. Works perfectly because it does clump, keeps the odor, and more durable than kitty litter sand. I tried a lot of brands. I save about 50% on the cost using the chicken food, and most important, it is my kitty likes and super fast here to make the change. Literally just one day to switch the cat over. I really recommend it. If you are in Mexico, use chicken food Pondora. Give your cats a better and non-toxic option. Thanks so much for BU Mina. I think that's great. Kenny Keating said, you just saved me a ton of time. Can you recommend a few zone 3 perennial fruit trees besides goji, apricot, apple? We have these. What I'm going to do, Kenny, is I'm going to put a link to, I think it's TCP permaculture, temperate, that in the TCP is temperate climate permaculture. I believe this was a retired military doctor who became interested in permaculture, and I think he actually has a YouTube channel as well. But I found out, I think he was on a podcast, and I discovered his website after listening to the podcast. And what he has done is he's created a list of from ground covers to fruit trees, nut trees, bushes, berry bushes, nitrogen fixing plants, a whole variety of these different plants. And I think it's TCP permaculture or temperate climate permaculture. I'll find a link to his website, which really has really good details, a really nice resource list of many of the plants that are applicable for a cold, damp climate. Now, we live in Zone 5A, Oswego, New York, which is near Lake Ontario in the United States, and we get lots of cloud cover here. And our seasons are changing. The last few years, things have really changed a lot, and I believe a lot of this is due to climate change. And so one of the things we're experiencing is much longer wetter periods and certainly longer droughts as well. But we're in Zone 5A based on geography and all. When I do go to some sites, like when I buy some trees from Stark Brothers, and I'll put a link to their location in the description below. I hope I remember all these things. And that's a really good source for many of the trees that we've gotten here. But what I'll do is pretty soon I'll do a walkthrough of a couple of the food forests. So we have the first food forest, and then we have the second food forest. I'm starting a third food forest now as well. Each one of them is quite a bit different, and every couple of years I start a new food forest. And we have varieties of plants in the food forest. And I'll actually make some videos on what a food forest is. And the most important question is the why. And you know, because I think the 6 questions that we're used to, that we should be asking, is who did what, where, when, why, and how. But it should always start out with why. Often we think, oh, what is this, and how do I do it? But I think the most important question is, why do we do it? How will it benefit me? How, you know, and I'll create a video on that, so I won't get started on that path now. But one of the things I've learned over time, despite all of these resources that are online, and Temperate Climate Permaculture, the author there, I think his first name is John, I can't remember. He did a really good internet search of finding resources and listing these ones. And I did look right after seeing this post that there were Zone 3. So it gives a Zone 3 to Zone 5, Zone 6. However, I always look at that as a not a definite. That's what people think based on experience. Like all things, even with our own health or with a piece of equipment, everything's multifactorial. It isn't just, okay, in Zone 3, pecans do well. Like here, we're in Zone 5A, and you know, the almond trees, certainly all-in-one almond trees, are supposed to do well. I've tried them a few times. I've lost them all, each one, where my Hall's Hardy almond trees are much more hardy. They do much better. They both have the same rootstock. The rootstock does well. The rootstock comes back, but the top of the plant, because these are grafted trees, the all-in-ones all die here. So I could say that it's because I'm in Zone 5A that's happening, but it may be because, oh, their crown even needs to be a foot higher than I put the crown of our trees, or they need to be protected from the westerly winds, or they need to get more frequent watering than we have available here, or you can't use mulch, whatever it may be. So there are multiple factors whenever we're trying to determine how well any particular plant is going to work in our environment. How much sun exposure there is, how much moisture they're getting, how well they're retaining the moisture with adequate surface mulch. Are these trees able to get their root crown up? So the video got cut off at some point, and I apologize for that. So I guess I'll just wrap up this question about Zone 3, selecting specific plants for whatever zone or climate you're in. I would say that it's always context specific. So what can grow in Zone 5A, which is a cold temperate climate? Well, there are other areas that are Zone 5A that don't have the same conditions as us. Even on our own property, there's microclimates, there's different soil types. So if I'm planting in a more nutrient-rich, composty soil material versus a clay type, or loamy soil versus a hard gravel soil, the slope of the land, is there a bulge downstream? Am I planting next to a swale? Is there a mound next to the swale that the trees are planted in? What about the prevailing winds? Are they getting really harsh winds at times? Is there a good mulch surface to retain the moisture during the periods where there's not adequate rain? And what sort of food materials are there for the microorganisms that are doing all the work for feeding and providing an appropriate microenvironment for the root systems, which are necessary for feeding the whole tree as well? What other pests do you have? Do you have voles that are issues? Do you have deer that are doing deer browsing? Do you have deer that are doing deer rubbing and all? And certainly once a tree, or a plant for that matter, become somewhat stressed, that makes them more susceptible to opportunistic infections as well, which could take out a tree. And being retired and spending as much time as I do here on the site, I'm pretty good about getting out and doing my walkabouts and taking a good look and seeing how the plants are doing. I may not do all the harvesting that I should be doing. I may not be doing all the pruning that I should be doing, all the training that I should be doing. But I am at least getting out there and doing a fair amount of observation, seeing what potential pest pressures there are, paying close attention to the rainfall that we have, testing the soil moisture as well. When things aren't going well, I'm checking the pH of the soil, checking the microbial communities as well. So monitoring your sites and really analyzing things and keeping logs is very helpful for determining how well some plants will do. I don't recommend, like I had tried here, like, and some permaculturists have talked about, some hugelkulturists and permaculturists have talked about putting lime and lemon trees in cold temperate climates like this. I tried it, wasn't successful. Does that mean that someone in somewhat of a similar setting in Zone 5A couldn't grow lemon trees or lime trees in this environment? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that I was unacceptable given all the variables that I established for trying to be successful with growing those particular trees. So, I'm dribbling on again. So, I wanted to create this video, so hopefully it is helpful. I really do enjoy the comments and questions. I look forward to seeing people's responses, the thumbs up as well. So if you have any comments or questions about this video, please leave them below. I'll try to remember putting all the links in the descriptions below. If you do purchase things on Amazon, it does help us out if you just click on that link down below before going to Amazon. It doesn't cost you a dime. It can help us out if you do make a purchase on Amazon. And I'll always share all the places that we get things from, even if it's not Amazon, because there's a lot of great products out there that I've reviewed and that work real well. So thanks so much for watching, folks, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.